Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our fourth bi-weekly dev stream. We did skip a couple weeks there, just because the COVID got me. But back at it, back developing, so good to be back. For those of you who don't know, Last Kingdom is a persistent medieval strategy game developed with CryEngine. It is being developed by Blue Iron Labs. We are a small team of independent developers looking to kind of build a passion game and a dream game that I think we all will love to enjoy. If you haven't yet, check out the Discord, links in chat, as well as check out LastKingdomGame.com, just to get a little bit more info on what the game's about, connect with the developers or anybody else, and see what's going on. I'd like to take just a couple seconds here to give a shout out to our Patreons, Moose King and Anara XX. Thank you so much for your support. I can't tell you how much it means to know that you guys are supporting development. With that being said, if anybody else would like to support development, there's Patreon links in the Discord as well as the website. Feel free if that's something that you're comfortable contributing to. Otherwise, just feel free to come and chat and hang out and let us know how things are looking, or if you have any ideas for what can make the game better. With that being said, let's hop into what we're going to work on tonight. I'd mentioned in a previous stream that we were having a bit of a logic issue with our build system. So currently we have a control panel in our game where there's a bunch of different buildings you can build, and right now it's all being handled essentially within a big switch statement. So you have a string within the UI, you click a button, the UI says, okay, hey code, the user just clicked build house. And then the code goes through this big switch statement and says, okay, here's the house, let's spawn this structure. And in thinking about that, it's very rigid, it's very static. It does work, and like at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest thing about a game. If it works, it's not 100% important exactly how it was achieved, but if it works and it works well, just be happy that it does. But for our sake, I wanted to jump in tonight and take a look a little bit at our interface and see if there's a better way to spawn structures that doesn't require a switch. And so I'm going to jump into Rider. I use the JetBrains Rider IDE for C++ development with CryEngine. So let's take a look. All right, so I'm looking at an interface component right now. The interface component is kind of right now. It's in charge of a couple different things. It's not quite like its responsibility isn't quite narrowed down to where it should be yet. But it's essentially responsible for any input that comes from the UI. So if we scroll down a little bit, we can see that there's a couple different events here. So like there's a formation event, there's a build event, and there's the stance event. And those are three things you can do within the UI. So you can, when you select a group of units, you can create a formation, and then you can change the order of the formation of those units. You can build a bunch of different structures like I kind of explained earlier. And this is the big switch block just built out into if statements. And then you can also change the stance of a unit. So we have different stances where if they're aggressive and they see an enemy unit, they will go after them and they will try to kill them. If they're defensive, they will stand their ground and only only fight them if they get close to them. And if they're passive, they will stand their ground and they will not engage unless attacked first. So with that being said, I think we're going to take a look at the build event today. This is the most complex, and as we've been working here, this is kind of where most of the logic has gone in so far. So let me go ahead and give a little bit of a background then into my idea. And you may have noticed this came up either last week or the week before in the CryEngine Discord. I did pose a question. I think Drake, CryDrake answered at the time that we might be able to do something with the Guid, and so let me just kind of explain what I'm thinking here. So my idea is there's something called a Guid on every component that we build. So I'm going to go to our house component, which is essentially just a component that gets attached to an entity in CryEngine, and it holds a bunch of game logic. So a house is a structure, and it has this CryGUID here. Every single component within Last Kingdom has a GUID that is generated, a unique identifier to identify what exactly, not what instance of a class it is, but what class instance it is. So this GUID will always represent a house. There is a method in CryEngine, and we'll hop to the initialize. There's a method. So if I go to and bear with me, this may take a second to get to where I'm looking for. So this create component by interface ID, this takes a CryInterfaceID and then some initialized params. This CryInterfaceID is the CryGUID that we just looked at in that const function. So this GUID right here should in theory, I want to put an asterisk there and throw a disclaimer out there, should in theory be what we pass into create a component by interface ID. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to take our existing control panel, and instead of passing a string back and parsing a string, I'm going to pass a GUID back and see if that still works as intended. And if that works, then we'll move on to potentially dynamically creating UI elements from C++ with a bunch of different components. So basically, like the long-term goal is to have potentially like hundreds of structures you can build, little fires, braziers, gates, walls, beams, chairs, tables, and you can build a castle, and you can throw all this stuff in it. And the goal is to have that all, you're able to build that all and select that all from the user interface. And obviously, maintaining a list of like hundreds of things that you can build or create within the game within a UI is a bit cumbersome. So the idea being that we'll have a directory, or really just all the classes registered within the engine. We'll loop through them, create a UI element for each one that basically has an image with it, and then they're good. And then whenever you click it, the UI will tell C++ what we're trying to build, right? So, any questions for the class? I know that was a bit, and I kind of went crazy. I apologize, Moose. But you did say it was game time, so we're gonna have some fun. All right, so I'm gonna open up a everyone's favorite program, Flash CS6. And I'm going to open up my control panel. So this is an existing Flash document. If you have seen any of the recent gameplay or streams, you'll have seen this control panel. It's kind of how you build everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up. So I have a bunch of different layers here in my timeline. I'm going to go to my civilian. A Valve 2-on-1. That is how every programmer's life starts. Hi, Alex. I feel like that's like the birth of a programmer. When a programmer is born, that is when they print "Hello World" somewhere. Whether that's in a browser, in a terminal. That's the birth of a programmer. How are you guys doing tonight, by the way? I know, I was a little bit tricked up by the name. Oh no. Work headaches aren't good. It is Friday evening though, so hopefully you don't have anything planned for work. Moose, tell me a little bit about this level you got. What's the, I guess, what's in it? What are the contents of this level? So I'm just hopping in here in my control panel then. And I have this build house button. What I'm gonna do is take a look at the action script to see exactly how that's being handled. Nice. Well, that sounds like fun. I feel like a rolling ball game is an excellent place to start with anything. Puzzles are fun too. Wasn't there a rolling ball game with CryEngine that was made not too long ago? Yeah, I don't quite. Yeah, Rolling Sun, that's it. You got it. Okay, so just looking at this action script right here. So this is basically looping through each element within the control panel. It's adding a click event to the button, to the panel here. It's then splitting it on button, and then splits the build and takes. Okay, so essentially we're just getting the middle piece here. So I think so. Whoever made Racing Glider also made Rolling Sun, and I'm not entirely sure who made Racing Glider. I think they did an interview with him. I think he's in the Discord. Yeah, they're very graphically pleasing. All right, so I'm gonna hop back into CryEngine. I'm gonna do one thing here. I'm going to print out the GUID to the command line. I want to see if it's the same, or what kind of format it comes through in. So, what's the format of a Guid? I can do so house Guid, and there's a to debug string there. There we go. And it's telling me that I don't need to reference house here because we're within that same namespace. You know what I love about Rider? I don't know what ID you guys use, but Rider keeps everything so clean. Like it tells you when stuff is it's just not necessary. And if you ever open up CryEngine's source with Rider, you might cry. Welcome, Denalty. It's okay. It's okay. You know, it's right if you made curry, as long as you brought some for the class. I must say you have quite a variety. You have quite a variety of food. Like one day you're making potatoes, and then the next day it's like you're making curry. This is going to be a thing. Every time we do a stream, you'll have to let us know what you're cooking. All right, so yeah, I'm just building this to get the string representation of the GUID to see exactly how that comes through, and then we'll plug that into the UI component. Visual Studio does seem it does seem heavy, but that's not the problem I have with it. The problem I have with it is that it's not smart. With Rider, there's a lot that it tells you is wrong, if it's wrong, and like it'll tell you, hey, you know, this is where a file is. You're missing this syntax, or you have some extra code here that's not necessary. It's just going to make things more complicated. With Visual Studio, it doesn't care. I remember Engine as a Service. I subscribed for a year to it before they discontinued it. All right, so I'm in the engine. I'm just going to load up the sandbox level through a house in the game, and I should have a console log. We'll grab that and we'll hop back into the code. So Denalti, I think the reason why my code always seems cleaner is because I'm kind of I don't know. I don't like things to be messy. And also because this isn't like a investor driven push to get this product out as soon as possible, I'm taking time to actually, OCD. That's a good way to put it. But I'm actually taking time to go back and refactor stuff. I know that professional teams don't always get that opportunity. However, as this being a mostly self-funded project, I get some luxury there. You know, I actually never use that bracket style before I started working with C++. It was just Rider's default syntax. It's default formatting. So I just kept it. But yeah, I mean, yes, it technically adds more lines of code, but I think it keeps things pretty clean. Yeah, Alex, you are 100% right. There's so much that goes into building a game. I have so much more appreciation for like just games in general since trying to build my own. I can't imagine like the amount of stress that must go into the game dev industry. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of money in it. Hey, making learning games is still very valuable. By the way, I have to ask, how's it going with Unreal? And what I'm doing right here is I'm just throwing that Guid into here. So this looks messy, but it'll pass this Guid to the game, and then the game should be able to handle it, in theory. And I just want to do a quick comparison for the Guid here. Okay, so the Guid is literally just what's in brackets. Okay. So I don't have to print that out for anything else. I can just copy it. Go ahead and take that. Throw this in here. Oh no! It's not a valid instance. Oh no. Yeah, I think that's one big thing that, well, to be fair, I don't think CryEngine's been like in active development for a couple years, but Unreal does definitely have over CryEngine is that it is mobile ready, and that it is supporting current gen consoles. I think it, yeah. There's just it's a little bit behind the ball on that. Do most indie CryEngine games allow you to type into the console? Yeah, tell Alex about that. So I have a problem right now. This Guid, it looks like Flash has a problem with it. Mine won't. I will lock you out, Moose. You will have no access. I will create a beta branch just for you that says no console. Yeah, I don't want people to cheat in my game. The moment Alex finds out that he didn't disable the console for his game. Hey, that's okay. There's actually quite a bit. There's actually quite a bit cool things you can do with a console. So anyway, so back to the current problem. I have a Guid. I'm trying to plug it into the name for this button. It's not working. The reason why it's not working is because it's a Guid, and there's special characters in here, like this. The dash, that's not supported. So if it tries to save, it says can only contain alphanumeric characters, supported symbols, and no white space. The dashes are symbols, so it doesn't like that. So I need to find a way to attach yeah, that's a good point, Moose. You need to know what CVARs are there to actually use them. So I need to attach somehow. I need to attach a property to. I need to attach a property to this button. Either that, or I need to see if I can pass through the GUID without dashes. Actually, I'm going to try that first. I'm going to try the GUID without dashes and see if that still works. So a GUID is a global unique identifier. There's some neat computer algorithms. There's actually quite a few of them, which will generate global unique identifiers based on what a bunch of different people thought was the best way to do it. And the reason why they're called global unique identifiers is because they're globally unique. In theory, you should never have, like, if a million people are generating GUIDs, they should never have the same one. You should always have a unique identifier, which isn't always the case, but let's just ignore that for now. So, all right, I've added this GUID to my button. I'm going to save it. I'm going to publish. I'm going to find my exporter. So let's go to my assets, libs, UI, control panel. Wow. And it's this Swift movie file I want to import. So I'm going to go to my project, go up, go to my source directory, go to my tools directory, my GFX export, scale form 4. And this, if you guys have used Scaleform UI, this is how you compile the images. I don't know if you knew this, but by default, this GFX export does not export at high quality. It exports at medium quality. So this -QH tells it to export at high quality. Otherwise, you're going to lose some quality with your images. And the I just means Prairie Director Out Service Performance. So I'm going to drag my Swift over to my DDS. It's going to compile. 43 images. I'm just looking to see if there's duplicates. I don't think so. All right, so in theory now, let's go back into my code. And go to the interface component. I have this const card type here. I'm going to log it. I'm just going to throw the type there. In theory, when I hit the house build action, I should see a type come through. So I'm going to rebuild this. We'll log that, and then it throws it into a build queue. And the reason why there's a build queue is because I've found that interface events don't necessarily always work well with C++. I don't know if it's when those events are kicked off or whatever, but I need to throw it into a queue and then process it within the update event. So we throw in the queue, update the component event mask to catch in the next frame tick. Because if I don't do that, then I get some stalling. So that's a neat little thing. But there's a lot of neat little things, and I'm excited and also very scared about what's going to happen when CryEngine 6 comes out and everything's different. I feel like it's going to be a bit of work to relearn. I hope it's better, but I'm not necessarily looking forward to it. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of things already. Moose, you can't say that. You don't know. I don't believe you. Alright, and there's my interface event. So there's that good that... Alright, so that's coming through. Let's close out of that. So I'm going to... I don't know if you're being serious or not, Moose. It's an excellent point, Tenalty. Because it is Fibonacci, it will be CryEngine 8. I hope they're listening. And by them, I mean the Crytek employees. Alright, so we have our build queue here. Let's go to our update event. So if build queue is not general, we build begin build queue. Okay, so I'm gonna break this for a second. I'm going to create a second build method. So void begin, and I'm just gonna do a const char. And we'll go into here, and I'm gonna copy this method, and this is just for testing. I'm not gonna keep this. So there's our type, selection. This is all relevant. This is all relevant. So what I need to do then is, so I spawn an entity. When you build, I spawn an entity with the rotation at the position wherever the current raycast is hitting, and then I do a structure factory create. And let me show you this fun guy. That's a lot. So I'm gonna try to get rid of that. I've never heard of this Cassandra complex, Moose. But it sounds fun. Alright, so in theory then I have my entity. If I do so if I do entity, so entity create component by interface ID. If I do type, that's gonna complain. Const char cannot convert to CryInterfaceID. I may need to open up source here. Let's take a look at source. I also don't day trade, no. I think you're talking about me when you say Big T. Yes, I'm a software engineer. I won't disclose title, rank, or company, but I work in the web dev sphere. So I'm looking for this CryInterfaceID. Yeah, so this type def CryInterfaceID is just a CryGUID. So actually, I think I can go back to the definition here. Is there a construct from string? SGUID string serializer. Hex strings a UN32. From string internal. This looks like it. The only thing I'm worried about here is that there are dashes in here. So yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. So from string. Case insensitive. Alright, so I'm going to do CryGUID from string to create that GUID. Let's go back to the build component. So let's get rid of our other code here. So CryGUID. CryGUID from string type. All right, so this returns an identity component. So so if identity component is equal to entity grid type, then this should work. And then, well, yeah. And then it creates just a general component. So then if structure we'll start our survey. And this is going to be hit that PT. No, just the hit. All right, so let's give this a begin build queue. Crylog. Okay, so I need to add another type to this. So so build queue good. So if all right, and again, this is temporary. I'm just trying to make sure that this technique is going to work. I would not expect this to be a long-term solution, having two different queue types. All right, so we cry-log the famous last words of any developer. This is temporary. Yeah. I promise it'll be temporary. I promise. Also famous last words. So type, so or const char. So if it's not, so it's not any of these though. So if what do I need to do? If I need to, okay, so if if it's 36, 32 because there's no dashes. A GUID is 36 characters long with dashes. So if it's 32, it's going to be a GUID, so then it's going to be build q GUID is equal to the type. Okay, so let's run this. If it doesn't work initially, we'll debug it. But in theory, if this works, I should just be able to take GUIDs and then have one pipe. Like, I can get rid of all of these conditionals and just keep this. In theory. And then that also means that anytime I have to add a new structure to the game, it's just a matter of adding the GUID to the interface element. And then I don't have to add another conditional for a factory. I don't have to add another conditional for an interface event. It should just simplify the flow quite a bit. Do you guys see that? I don't see anything either, so there's a problem. I'm gonna go ahead and just debug. Well, this works. We're logging it, right? So I'm gonna just throw in a couple debugs here. So we're there. Okay, so build type GUID's being set properly. So we'll jump into the update then. There's my problem. My problem is that I'm not properly checking. So I need to add a conditional here. So and build q GUID string length is equal to 0. All right, let's throw that up again. Oh, did you guys see that post in the CryEngine Discord about what were they asking? One second. This one right here. We're looking for multiple programmers for a large project where we need to port a large and hyped CryEngine AAA game, not released yet, from PC to PS5 and Xbox XS. Please contact me for further information if needed. Kim Jewell, Production Manager, Slipgate Ironworks. I took a look at the Slipgate Ironworks website, and I don't know any of the games they've either published or worked on. But I thought it was interesting because, well, I mean, let's be honest here. Last Kingdom is also... Last Kingdom is going to be a large and hyped CryEngine AAA game as well. So, I suppose that tells you how much value there is in what he said. I need to save. I don't need to keep doing this. Alright, so, okay, I'm still debugging. Sure. I forgot I was still debugging. Okay, hey, Hey, we're getting somewhere. I'm just going to keep debugging this because we're getting somewhere. All right. So we have our type. That looks fun. All right. CryGUID from string type. Oh no, it didn't work. We didn't add the component. All right. So I'm going to need to debug what we're creating this CryGUID from then. Because that did not work. Alright, so CryGUID. Good is equal to CryGUID from a string type. So cry log always good dot to debug string. We'll see how that comes through. And then we may need to try something else. I may try to hard code this just to test if it's actually an issue with the GUID or if it's an issue with trying to create this component by interface ID. Which is just a GUID. This is one thing that's slightly frustrating about CryEngine is there's like there's something that you understand is something in the engine. Like it's like, oh hey, here's a CryGUID. That's the identifier for a component. And then they make this CryInterfaceID, which is just an alias to CryGUID. So they're both the same thing, but it's an additional component that adds level of complexity. I'm sure someone looked at it and was like, you know, this isn't technically a CryGUID, but that's just frustrating. All right, so we're still in the debug. Yep. All right. Okay, so yeah, so that's not being parsed properly. Yeah, so that CryGUID from string type is just resulting in this 0000000 thing here. So I wonder if that's because there's the dashes and they don't exist. So how can we add a dash to it? I don't know if there's a way to add properties to, like, just a value to a... I know you guys are all Flash experts, so any help here would be appreciated. Especially you, Moose. So one thing that we could do, it doesn't work for element or interface create elements, but when you create a new element, you can assign whatever property to it you want. So like this event target here, I could say like event.target.GUID is equal to thingy. And so that would work if I was creating it from C++, because then I could just pass that GUID through and it would assign it to an arbitrary property. So this is actually ActionScript 3, I think. And what do you mean with a hash map? I'm just looking for somewhere where I could potentially throw that property. I could technically format it, I think. Let me actually see if there's any utils within the Guid for formatting a Guid. So let's do a Control F for dash, I guess. That's not working. ToString. 20 terminated character array. Output. Nope, it's not it. From a string. .64-bit Guid system. There's stuff like this. I'm really for CryEngine 8. I'm really excited because it's like, oh, here's a thing where we converted from the old Guid system. They've specifically stated that they're not going they're ripping out all the old stuff that really puts a damper on CryEngine. And so like these necessary code switches where they're converting it from an old system shouldn't be necessary anymore. Now that's smart. CryEngine Infinity. So I'm I'm not seeing anything in here that actually takes just a GUID and formats it. That little dash is literally causing all the issue. Alright, well let me go ahead and take that dash and I'm just going to throw it straight into the code just to make sure that this is actually going to work as expected. So let me pull this GUID here from the house. We'll go to this build component. I'm going to throw this CryGUID right here in the type. And let's just test that. You know, that's what they did with all the games that they had planned. They call them like Rise Next, Crisis Next, which I guess makes sense. Well, it's not like it was actually the name of the project. It was just... It was just a representation of, like, what might be next for the game. That's pretty funny. Okay. Hey, this might have actually worked. Oh my god. Oh boy, did it work. Oh boy, did it work. I think my game's gonna crash pretty soon. It's so good. So good. So what's happening right now is the build queue. It has an entry point for creating the house, but there's no exit point. It doesn't reset. So we're just spawning, I don't know how many frames per second right now, but we're spawning a lot of houses with a lot of smoke. You know, actually, I'm very surprised that it's still running as smoothly as it is. This is a lot of polygons. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see it right now. My entire village with peasants and smoke, a lot of smoke. Yeah, so you know what? I can give you guys a quick update actually on where the game's at. Oh no. Oh no, we're just going bonkers. Well, Moose, I would hope that you'd be able to give some candid feedback prior to posting a public review on Steam. Alright, that resets that GUID, so now we won't get millions of spawned houses every frame. Alright, so my core problem still remains. I need to pass a GUID from Flash, and I'm not sure where to put it. I'm going to open every developer's best friend and the best tool known to mankind. Google. Searching for information on Flash CS6 is like searching an old history book written in Latin on how to build a computer. How to create movie clips tutorial, controlling movie clip properties with action script. All very helpful. Not. Which icons are we talking about? The control panel ones? Also, Moose, you're not just going to be beta testing the game, you're going to be pre-alpha testing the game. If you're talking about these icons here, I actually think I mentioned this in a previous stream. But this was an initial investment, so I think there were 2 icon sets I bought off of Game Dev Marketplace or somewhere, and they were like $10 each, and then I kind of cannibalized them to create a bunch of different variations. Plus some excellent Photoshop skills. I wonder if I make it something other than... No, because those are all filters. Action script panel. That's the debugger. I might be SOL here. I'm not SOL. Let's do it the dirty way for now. Alright, so I have a type. We don't need that anymore. I know that's coming through just fine. I have a string length of 32, so I'm gonna make a string 5 is equal to string type. You know what sucks? You can't control vertex deformation in the Illume shader without vertex colors. Please explain why. Sounds good, Denalti. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy your curry. Alright, so I'm going to piece this together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be string fi dot substring 0, 8 plus string fi dot substring 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah, 9, 12. Let me make sure I'm using that correctly. Yeah, yep, 9, 12. Plus another dash, plus string fi dot substring 13, 16. No, 4. Position and count, yeah, okay. Alright, plus another dash. And that brings me to, so I've got these 3. Alright, so one more and then the last piece. So plus string fi dot substring stringify 13, so 14, 15, 34, 16, so 17, and then 4. Another dash, and then the last piece, which is going to be $18 and Moose, are you gonna tell? Are you gonna tell why vertex deformation without vertex colors, or why you need vertex colors? Why does that suck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't think my numbers are adding up right. All right, so 0 to 8. 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 plus 4 is 17. 17 plus 4 is 20. Yeah, okay, so 22. 20. It should be 20, right? Pull pocket. You mean the pull itself, or? Vertex deformation for flags, as I understand, is it's a value from 0 to 1, from black to white. Can't you just make it completely black? Or maybe it's the other way around, completely white. I'm not sure which color actually triggers it. I'm pretty sure you can do that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. So 0, 8, 9 and 4, 13, 13, 4, 17, 17, 4, 21. Yeah, it is 21. Alright. So I'm going to make my build queue Guid is equal to that then. Alright, I'm gonna debug this just to make sure it's correct. I'm actually very excited that this is actually working. I hope you are as excited as I am. Also, if any of you fine gentlemen would like to follow, is it follow on Twitch? Subscribe? I don't think it's subscribe, but if you'd like to follow, you can. Alright. So let's go ahead and build this then. Let's look at the debugger. Looks like an oh. Yeah, because I didn't print anything. So I guess let's take a look at the Guid then. Yeah, okay, so this looks... Let me just take a look at the house. So 6A, 2A, 8, 9. Oh no, it's not right. So I think my problem is... So 1, 1, 3, 6, so that's correct. So 3B it starts. So it's 1 too many. I need to knock everything back by 1. So instead of 9, I'll do 8. Instead of 13, I'll do 12. Instead of 17, I'll do 16. Instead of 20, I'll do 20. Alright. So I will take that out because I think this is gonna work. So still this year, Moose. Okay, I should amend my statement. The technical elf is coming out this year. The technical alpha is coming out this year, yes. And what does that mean, you might ask? Well, that means that there's going to be like 3 people who are going to get to play a very, very, very early version of part of the game. I want to show you this though because there's been so much work being put into assets right now. So just take a look at this folder. So each grouping of 3 of these is an asset that's been created for the game. So there's a lot of work going into the art side of things. Basically, where we're at is all of the core code is done for the economy, for harvesting, for... So the goal is to have plenty more than 200. But right now what we're doing is we're working through getting all the assets ready for CryEngine, which means essentially making sure the textures are in their popular specular format, making sure that LODs are set up, making sure that poly counts are both good high quality, but also that they scale down pretty well. And we're trying to compile a list of like 600 different assets, medieval assets that we can use to kind of build out all these different buildings. But on top of that, the idea is that for like all the tables, chairs, everything else like that, you can just build whatever. You can click build, you can filter and search for like chair version 1 or chair version 6, and you can build a nice castle room to be however you like, if you want. Or you could just build a box and that can be your castle. The goal is to have this world be your oyster. Oh no, it didn't work. I thought that was gonna work. Oh no. Let me just debug this really quick. Because that should have worked. Yeah, LODs are an interesting thing. I don't know if you've played Hunt at all recently, but the LOD distance ratios for Hunt are tiny. Like, I think they're a little bit aggressive. And what's really nice about building a strategy game is in a game like Hunt, you're looking away. Like, you're looking across the entire world. So you're rendering objects that are... Yeah, fair enough. So you're looking at objects that are like, I don't know, like 400 meters away. And you can have like thousands of these all across your map. With the strategy game, you're looking down. And so your viewport is fixed. And that allows you even more flexibility to create more detailed geometry. So what exactly do you mean by crazy? What do you mean rather than occlusion? And then that the popping requires that much more performance? I'm curious as to what you mean by this. Oh. Well, that's working. Okay. Interesting. That may be something I'll have to take a look at. Alright, so I need to make sure that I'm actually surveying the structure after I build it. I mean, it is saying survey. You know why? You know what? I think I'm missing something here. No, I'm not. Build component. Right, building. So I need to set the building. Because this component is in charge of updating the position based on where your cursor is. So there's a lot of there's so many buttons in CryEngine, Moose. Like there's so many settings you can turn on or off. I can't even imagine like getting to a point where you have a good understanding of what all those are. It is very daunting. It's a pretty interesting idea. Yes, ideally. All right, well, so I guess just to kind of show the result of what we worked on today. Here's the house. It's being created from that Guid. So all I did was added that Guid to the build button here. And that sends that Guid to C++, and then C++ creates our house based on that Guid. So I can actually get rid of this if statement for the house. And this code block here, I'll clean this up a bit, but this code block here essentially will handle creating all of our structures without having to have a factory build it or anything else like that. And you know what's even what's even nice about this in the long run is that like I kind of mentioned earlier, is we'll be able to just pass stuff to the interface from C++, and assign it as a property to the movie clip from ActionScript, and then just reference that when we click on it. So I think that'll be a story for next time, but that's kind of where we're headed. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm pretty excited to start seeing things just generating within Flash from code. Yeah, Moose, I think that's a really smart idea. I think it's just, yeah. I think there's a bit that goes into like once you build a game, you need to fine tune it. You need to optimize it, and I'm sure there'll be quite a bit of that to do with Last Kingdom, because just the scale of detail is a little bit ambitious. So, all right. Well, that is all. That is all I have for tonight. We'll go ahead and wrap up the stream here. I hope. I was just about to say, I hope Alex is still here. You know, if you have a video of that, Moose, I would love to see just... I would love to just see what you're referring to, but... yeah, so... Alright, well that's going to be it for today, guys. I just want to give a shout out again to our two Patreons, Moose King and our XX. Again, the support means a ton. If you guys haven't seen the Discord, you haven't signed up for email updates yet on our website, head over to lastkingdomgame.com or go to our Discord, which I'll paste in the chat. And come, just hang out, say hi. If you have any friends you'd like to invite or tell about the game, feel free. I think we'll be getting some nice art work in progress screenshots posted here within the next week or two. There's a lot going on that side of development. And very excited just to kind of see that come together with the actual gameplay, and it's starting to actually look like something. So that's very exciting from a development point of view. The game is not quite yet ready for marketing. We have a couple phases before we get there, such as pre-alpha, but we're moving along really quick. All the infrastructure is set up to build the game, to deploy the game. So it's just a matter of getting it all done, and we're gonna keep working on it until it is done. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas or anything you'd like to specifically cover in a stream, there's a lot of work we still have to do, and so if there's anything you want to explore specifically, whether that's with code, with some of CryEngine, some art, or anything else, just let me know. We could probably take a look at it in one of these streams and get it in the schedule. Alright, well, I think everybody needs a better GPU, Moose, especially me, but hey, we can all dream, right? All right. Well, have a good night, guys. Thanks for coming. I will talk to you soon, and we'll see you in the next one.